Hi there. In this video, we are going to cover how we can create an integration between Gecko Chat and your Dynamics instance. The lovely thing is this is very, very quick and easy to do. We're going to go through it during this call, everything from the setup to the field mappings to actually testing this and seeing what it looks like when a conversation syncs from chat to Dynamics. So we're going to begin by logging into Gecko Chat and navigating to settings. And we're going to go to the integrations tab, and you can see there's a bunch of different integrations that we support. You can have as many of these as you'd like, but do note that for each type you can only have one active integration. So for example, if you were using two different Salesforce environments and one Dynamics, you'd have to choose which of the Salesforce environments you want to link to. Anyway, Dynamics in this case we're going to choose, so let's go ahead and click Setup. Now the first big decision you have is which module type you want to write to. Is it contacts or leads? So this is an internal discussion for you depending on how you're using Dynamics right now. Some people use leads, which I believe on Dynamics are known as inquiries or inquiries, depending on which side of the Atlantic you're from, and they're used for prospective students sometimes who then become contacts once they qualify by enrolling. Others use it completely differently. Both ways are totally legitimate, so choose which one suits you. Now a big thing to note is that unlike Engage with the forms and the events side, where choosing one of these doesn't limit you to writing to other attributes, choosing your module type limits you on chat to only being able to write to attributes there. So it's a good one to get right off the bat. You'll then ask for three separate bits of information: the dynamic instance URL, the app ID, and the password key. Fortunately, we've got a really simple and easy to follow guide here, which will take you through every single click on the Azure portal of what you need to do to generate those credentials. Now, I'm going to pause the video for a moment because I've cheated. I've already got these written down, so I'm going to copy paste them across, and then we'll see what this looks like in the next step. Okay, so everything is pasted in. I'm going to go ahead and click Done. And I'm actually already logged into Gecko Chat, into Dynamics on a different tab here. So what's going to happen is it'll use those credentials to create the integration. If you weren't logged in, all that would happen would be you would be redirected to Dynamics. You would be asked to log in with your username and your password, and effectively just make sure you've got the right requisite permissions to be able to do that, and you've got a user which ideally isn't tied to an individual but is more just a generic username for the purposes of the integration. Now this will take a couple of seconds whilst we push the information back, and there we can see the integration itself has been created now, which is excellent, and we can now start using this. Now, think of this as a blank slate. We've now got the integration where we're talking, we're able to push information to Dynamics, but we now need to tell Gecko and Dynamics that if Gecko has information in these specific fields, push them to these specific attributes within the contacts module or table. So we do this by going to Add New, and we can see we are locked into only being able to write to contacts, but which fields do we want to write to? So a good one to begin with would be mapping the Dynamics contact table first name attribute, and we're going to map that to the Gecko first name field. Really simple. We're then going to get last name, and we're going to say, you know what, the student's last name, I want to map to the Gecko last name field. We'll do this with email as well. Email, and we'll map that to the Gecko student email. But the really nice thing here as well is you can choose whichever field you want, so whether that's address or any of the other multitudes. Let's see, is there a course entry criteria? Let's imagine that we had an entry criteria field, or really any field you want, ethnicity for example, and that didn't exist yet on Gecko Chat. You can, instead of mapping it to an existing contact field, you can tell Gecko Chat, create a new type of field. This is the format the data's in, and it's going to pull across all of the correct information. Now, if that particular field uses a pick list, Gecko can import that pick list at the exact same time, which is really, really helpful. It means you don't have to copy and paste any GUIDs across, etc. Anyway, we have our fields just here. My face is in the way for this next part, but I did want to just really quickly show that you do have the ability to import set up a recurring import as well, so that you're able to pull information and contacts into chat. Anyway, for the final part of this then, let's actually see what this looks like when a conversation is started and when it pushes across. And to illustrate this, we have a test contact ready to start a conversation with one of our agents. Hi there, I have a question, which now comes into Gecko chat. Perfect stuff. Which has responded. Perfect. So that's the extent of my conversation. Thanks for helping. Bye. So it's not the most informative of conversations, but what we're going to do is we're going to tell Gecko to push this across to Dynamics. So in order to push this conversation across, all I need to do is push the close conversation button. That tells Gecko that we're ready to sync this. And we can see already, because I've got multiple integrations set up, we're pushing this data to our Connect instance and also over to Dynamics. So let's have a quick check to see what this looks like on Dynamic. Perfect. I've logged into Dynamics again because I timed out, and we can see that the contact record here has been updated for the student, and we have this Gecko chat, live chat, updating of the student timeline. And we can see the transcript, who sent the message, the channel this has been on, exactly when this has taken place, which is being deposited right here for us able to view on the single source of truth, which is the contact record on Gecko. So really quick to go through. We're at 6 minutes now, and that includes me waffling a ton about stuff which isn't useful. If you know what you're doing with this, you can get set up in absolutely no time at all.